All right, and welcome back to Box Office Report. Today, on the 25th of February, 2024. Didn't get the box office right. I'm pretty sure I called Demon Slayer would be number one. Didn't get that right. But Bob Marley's One Love came in number one again. Dropped 52.9%, made 13.5 million. Demon Slayer, though, made 11.5 million in its opening weekend. Good for it. Ordinary Angels debuts at 6.5. And Madam Web still managed to stay in the top five, 60.9 million, which, hey, look, that's actually a better drop than I was going to give it credit for. And then Migration, still around in its 10th week, is Migration. So Bob Marley's One Love. This was on my list of things to go out and see, but I ultimately just couldn't get around to seeing it. God, I am forgetting what Bob Marley's One Love is made on. 1 second. Let's get that up. Bob Marley's One Love. The budget, I believe, is like 80 million or something like that. 70 million. 70 million is what the budget was. That's what it was. And I mean, it had a decent marketing campaign. I don't know what the budget is exactly for the marketing, but it's probably in the 50 range, 30 to 50. If I highball it at 50, you're looking at a film that probably has to hit 180 to break even. That'd be about standard, I'd say. And right now it's at 120. It's actually doing pretty well, all things considered. It's got not the best reviews last I checked. Let me get that up right now. What are the reviews out for this right now? So Rotten Tomatoes, there we go. Rotten Tomatoes. All right, Rotten Tomatoes. And Dune currently is holding a 97%. Great for it. Bob Marley is holding 2% by the critics, which is not the best, but far from worst. In fact, I recall it was at a much worse score last I knew. And a 92% from the audience, which tells you that the audience is liking this film. It doesn't hurt, though, that there really hasn't been a lot this month. But I mean, we're about to hit March. And March is where it's all going to kick off, folks. March is where the movie season is going to come back. But look, at 120, you're looking at a film that's currently made about $80 million against the $70 million budget, $120 million. It currently is at a deficit of about $40 million. But it's doing okay right now. Honestly, legit, it's doing okay. It's not doing terribly at all. All things considered. So we'll have to see where it goes right now. I probably will not get out to see this. It's just going to be too far down the line. But yeah, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hashira training. Hashira training, yeah, to the Hashira training. It goes under restraining, blah, blah, blah. I'd said this was going to be number one. I still stand by it could have been, but I guess, that maybe these anime movie things have kind of run their course just a little bit. I mean, they're still clearly making money for what they are. But I don't have much to say. I'm not a Demon Slayer fan is the problem. I never got into Demon Slayer. But it is what it is. Ordinary Angels, 6.5 million. It's a perfectly fine debut by Lionsgate. I don't know what this one's made on personally. It's probably low for the budget, but that could be anywhere from 10 to 30 million low. So, and even if it was hypothetically 10, which I don't think it is, because you got Sandra Bullock, you got he's getting high. He's on Reacher. Let's see, cast. What's his name? Oh, it's bothering me. Alan Richardson. That's it. Yeah, Alan Richardson. So my guess is you're looking at more like 20 to 30 million is what you were looking at minimum. I'll have to look up the budget later, but it is what it is. I didn't check what the score was for Ordinary Angels, but I didn't expect it to be breaking ground either. Honestly, these aren't really the movies we're here to talk about. Demon Slayer, Ordinary Angels. It's important to recognize that they did make some money at the box office, just nothing amazing. Now again to Madam Web, which last we checked was around 50 some odd million against a $80 million budget. Apparently, by the way, thank you to, I think it was Russell Hunter who confirmed that apparently it does have a $60 million marketing budget, which is far more than I thought it had. Which means this film is made 140 million, which means it has to make about 210 million. Currently made 6 million, dropping 60.9%, which I'm going to be honest, It's lower than I thought it would drop. Let's find out what this is today, folks. 77 million worldwide. Oh, man. Man, Sony. Look, I was watching a video with Sean Chandler, who I'm a fan of his YouTube channel, and he had not Scott Adkins, is it? Was it Scott Adkins? I think it is from oh God, I can't remember, Movie Fights or whatever it was, or I can't remember exactly what it was. It's not Scott Adkins. What am I thinking? Scott Adkins is that actor. Why am I forgetting his name? He was the movie trivia Schmodown champion for the longest time. I can't remember, but they were talking about how there was a theory going around that Zaslav, the owner of WB, was acting these films like not just as write-offs, but also because he's looking and getting all these big talent involved in a lot of things because they're looking to just turn over WB after acquiring it, which is possible. But Scott Mantz, is that who I'm thinking of? Scott Mantz? But anyway, he said about stop canceling these the creatives, these movies, and because these people worked on them or something along those lines. It wasn't quite what I was saying, but it was something in that general vein. And look, if the movie's not good, you have to ask yourself the question: is it worth it to put it out? Because what a lot of people I've heard say is honestly true. Well, I'm still looking forward to Kraven the Hunter. I still want to see what they're going to do with this film. My enthusiasm for Kraven the Hunter dropped after this movie. Like, this hurt your franchise more than because it didn't help your franchise at all. That's the thing. This movie was so bad. You can't. I've yet to hear an argument about what the benefits of releasing this movie actually were. That's the problem with the argument is like, oh, they should have released it. People worked hard on this. Okay, but what's the benefits of actually releasing the film? It's not, because if this film was as bad as they, like, for instance, Batgirl was as bad as they said it was, like possibly this level bad, what would have actually been the benefits of releasing it? You would have, lost money. You already lost money, but you can at least write it off to some degree. But you would have lost money. You would have hurt your already hurting franchise. And you're already... The Sony universe is 2-1 right now. They have two relatively good successes with... One big success with the first Venom, one solid success with the second Venom. But then Morbius came in, and now they're 2-2. Now they're 50-50. And... like, okay, so you're hurting your franchise already by releasing this. You're hurting every actor in the movie who wants to get work down the road, especially when you can tell they're not giving their A-game performances. Adam Scott's the only one who's trying his damnedest. He really is. Dakota Johnson was not there. She was not there. And that has to fall partly on the director. You're hurting the director who directed this. So, I mean, yes, shelving something the director did, that it's never a good sign. But at least if no one's seen it, they can't gauge if it really was bad or if it was good. By releasing it, it's like, oh, you made this. You guys who wrote Morbius, Gods of Egypt, and so forth, wrote this. You're hurting any chance of getting work down the line. You're hurting your reputation as now, granted, everyone does bad films. Everyone in their life, except for maybe Daniel Day-Lewis. And even then, I think there was one where he was still good in it, but the film itself was just kind of But even like, unless everyone though has done some level of bad movie in their career, and that's just the price of doing the job. It's you have to take the blows to come out the other end. This is one of those films where I don't think that's worth it. It's just not worth it at all. And yeah. So I'm fortunate. And so if someone in the comments can honestly, truly, and I mean this sincerely, can give me some sort of what good apart, and don't give me for I get that if you want to joke about it. The good thing is we know not to do this again. No, I mean, like, legitimately, what was a positive that came out of this movie? Like, what positive did it do? Because I don't even know if you can make the argument that it made the Sony execs realize, oh, we did this by mistakes. Like, well, we can learn from this mistake. Because they looked at this, they saw what they had, and they thought, let's release it anyway. So I don't know if you could say that they're going to learn a lesson from this. Because they've been trying to do this damn Spider-Man-less Spider-Verse. Which I think is eventually going to lead to Spider-Man showing back up in Sony at some point. But they've been trying to do this, trying to get this Sinister Six movie off the ground for some goddamn amount of time. And for some reason, because they think that's their version of the Avengers, all these characters from these movies coming together. But the problem is they're not necessarily making good films to kind of go with that. I don't know. I don't know. Point being, Madam Web is going to lose a lot of money. That's my Madam Web rant for the day. My Madam Web rant for the day. Join us next week for my another one. God, my grammar is just shot right now. So that was my Madam Web rant for the day. Join us next week for my next Madam Web rant. Madam Web rant. Wow, my grammar, my pronunciation is just shit at the moment. No joke. Sidetrack. Side note, I actually did have like speech issues as a kid. I had trouble pronunciating. I actually had to do speech therapy as a kid. One of the things I did was like do this with my tongue, like ma 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 ma. And the problem is I get very energetic sometimes when I'm talking about a subject. So my mouth is moving so fast that even though my brain knows what I'm trying to say, my mouth can't keep up. It tries to find the best motion to pronounce the word in my head. So rant turned into ramp there. So I gotta try. It's something that, and it's honestly, it hasn't been an issue really for a good while. It's only like last year or two it's kind of started to rear its head again. But anyway, Migration, $268 million. Look, this film's already made its money back. I can't say much else about Migration without being a broken record about it. So Migration, good for Migration. I'm glad these films, particularly these films in December that deserved better to start with than what they got, really kicked off and really had a good run. And I got on Migration late, but Migration I thought was a pretty good movie, all things considered. Not like amazing, but honestly, solid little film. I did have one person say they were disappointed in what they did with the movie versus like theoretically what it could have been. And I gotta see that argument. Like, it's not amazing. It's not great, but it's an enjoyable little watch. Argyle, talking about a movie that's not great, but an enjoyable little watch. Another 2-some-odd million. Only 86 million, man. Oh, man. Argyle basically came and went like a fart in the wind. And again, repeating myself like a broken record. I think, is coming down to a bad marketing campaign. Not the greatest movie anyway. I don't know what's been going on with Matthew Vaughn as of late, because he did so many good things. He did Kick-Ass. He did... obviously, I think he peaked with Kingsman a little bit. He's got a couple other really good things under his belt. But like when it came to Kingsman 2, Argyle, which definitely falls a bit more into the Kingsman 2 vein, it's just, I don't know if he's lost, how he's lost his touch and how he's going to be able to get it back. But it's kind of just weird to see how he's sort of fallen out of grace a little bit. Not to say he's a bad director. He's still a great director. I think he needs to get out of this Kingsman world is what he needs to do. This Kingsman-esque world, at any rate. Wonka, a film that we've been talking about forever because it just keeps doing well. 2.5 million. 617 million again. Jesus. That's another 10 million on the domestic side, I think, because I checked last time it was like at 607. And it's not making a lot domestically anymore. So, yeah, that's almost 10 mil, 5, 8 million, something like that. I mean, like I said, it's not going to hit 700 million at this point. That I fully believe it's not going to do. But maybe 630 is still doable? At its highest, and I mean highest, might hit 650, but that's the highest I could even give it. And even then, I doubt it I doubt it very much it's going to do that. But again, it goes to show what being a good movie with no contenders out for a good long while will do for you. So yeah, Wonka, man, Wonka cleaned house and good for it. The Candyman can. Driveway Dolls, which I have a review for that right now up if you want to watch it. It's that's got like a 66%, 2.4 million. I'm not surprised. I wasn't expecting much from the film, and you know what? It's great when you get these little pleasant surprises. It was a fun little film. Not anything amazing, but a fun. It's much better than say Argyle is. I'll still contend. I think The Beekeeper is the best film of the year so far. But also, Driveway Dolls was perfectly fun. It was a perfectly fun little time. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Then The Beekeeper, again, a film that is really just kicking ass in the box office, all things considered, 149 million. Now, because it was already in like the high 140s already, this tells me that the film is pretty now capped out. It's now just going to be eking in a couple million now. But the fact that it's going to cross 150 million against a $30 million budget, means that, I mean, in 50, it looks like it made about 50 million in profit. That's, I mean, look, it's not like blockbuster numbers, but that's a good number. That's a good profit. So yeah, I all hats off to him. It was a good time. It shows Jason Statham still got it. I'm always down for a good Jason Statham action flick. Action flick. So yeah, it was a good time. Chosen One, season 4, episode 4. Hey, wow, I'm surprised it dropped only that much, especially when you can pretty much watch it for free if you got that streaming service. Yeah, but or for I can't remember where The Chosen debuts on. But yeah, look, it's not making a lot of money anyway. It's just that little extra. Hey, the people want to go see it. Anyone But You, 1.2 million. It is at 199.8. It's at 200 million. Let's be honest. It's gonna hit that again. I am broken record, but a solid film, all things considered, from what I heard. No competition in its genre whatsoever. And honestly, let me get the upcoming movies out here. This film might still have some good legs left in it, despite being in its which week is it in right now? It's seriously, what week are we in now for this film? It's 11th week. No, it's in 11th place. Where is the weekend domestic? Where? It's in its 10th week. Okay. Despite being its 10th week, it still might have one last gasp of life, because if we go to March, what do we have coming out? Dune Part 2, of course, it's going to take box office and everything. It's the big boy on the block now. Imaginary Kung Fu Panda, the American Society of Magical Negroes, and Snack. What the hell is? Oh, Snack Shack. What the hell is Snack Shack? That just suddenly appeared. From Paramount Films. I have not seen anything for this. Is this R-rated? Oh, it is R-rated. Okay, so until mid-March, you're not going to have anything that competes with this film at all, because it's an R-rated comedy, and that's really what's been the attraction to it. Apart from the fact it's clearly been an entertaining film for a lot of people, it's an R-rated comedy. It has had no competition at all. But around mid-March is when that's going to change up, because you're going to have two R-rated comedies with, I believe, the Magical Society of Negroes, which, as a white guy, makes me a little, say that word. And they make a joke. I finally saw a trailer for it. They make a joke of that in the trailer, too. It's like, maybe change the word naming, but Magical Society of Black people, yeah, it doesn't roll so much. Like, you know. But, it's got that, and it's got that. So two different R-rated comedies coming out. Yeah, it's gonna most likely lose whatever footing it has left after that. But I mean, to be fair, it only made 1.2 million this week, and it's lost over 500 screens alone this week. It's gonna lose a lot more, come next week when we have I think words Dune 2 come out. So there's that. Anything else we have to talk about this week? Perfect Days. I don't know what this is. Janitor in Japan drives between jobs. Listen to rock music. Cool beans. Let's see here. Lisa Frankenstein, a film I didn't really care to see. Just said no. 9.3 million. Okay. Mean Girls, are a little over, under 500,000, 103. It's pretty done, Mean Girls. But it did make its money back, so good for it. Night Swim, for, again, also a little under almost a million. So 51 million, if I remember correctly, it's made up 15 million. You're looking at maybe 20 in marketing. It still didn't make its money back. I assume. I'd have to double check on that. Everything else is pretty much just fodder at this point. It's pretty much just empty fumes in the gas tank. So yeah, that's this week's box office. I think, what do you think? What do you think the reasons for the successes and failures are? Obviously, for next week, shocker, Dune 2 will be number 1 next week by a lot. After that, we are probably going to be looking at Bob Marley again being number 1. Because even if it drops more like in the mid to upper 50s, it's still going to be higher than any of these. I'm going to assume Demon Slayer will not be in theaters next week, so I'm not going to include it in the box office prediction. I will go Ordinary Angels. Then I'll go Madam Web might luck out and drop only in the 50s next week. Maybe, but it'd still be in the 2 some odds. So I'll go. Migration, and then Madam Web. I don't feel really confident in that myself. Honestly, I don't feel a lot, except for the 2 movies, Bob Marley and Dune, not in that order. I'm not really sure on the remaining 3, particularly because I have no idea what Ordinary Angels is going to do long term for its box office. But that's my thoughts on the box office this week. Let me know what you thought. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.